Should I get a muffler delete on my Infiniti Q50? This is a big question, a question that pops up all the time still across all my social media platforms. It's a question I'm surprised that I'm still getting at this point, but I guess that's good news because it means more and more people are jumping into this car and this VQ37 platform every single day, which is really, really exciting. So it's a question I'm happy to address, and I'm surprised that I haven't done it yet at this point. And everything I say in this video holds true for the G37 and the 370Z as well. So I hope you guys are joining from those vehicles as well. And if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you stopping in, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification as well. I do 3 videos every single week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I try not to miss. And I got 550 something videos uploaded at this point. So I'm sure there's something on this channel that you will find of interest. This is going to be the first part of a 2-part video. I'm gonna jump in the next video, probably upload it right after this one, on my recommendations in terms of how to pursue a muffler delete, the best way to accomplish this. And I think that's an important one. So let's dive right into this today. Is a muffler delete worth it on my Q50 or VQ37? So there's definitely a couple of things to take into consideration when you're considering doing a muffler delete on your Q50. This is something that I did right away. This was always one of my first modifications on a car. It seems like I just dive in, cut the muffler off, make it sound good or louder. And so I understand why people will pursue this, and it's relatively inexpensive to do as well. One of those things to take into consideration is performance. Is it going to affect how the car performs? Is it going to make it perform better? Is it going to change the performance at all? Or is it going to be a detriment to how the car performs? The other thing is, how does it sound? Is it raspy? Is it tinny? Does it sound like a bunch of bees in an empty coffee can? Is it too loud? Is it drony? There's a lot of things to think about. So I want to make sure I touch on all those topics today so you guys can pursue this modification sort of with a little bit more of an understanding. And I'll share some clips of my car along the way. As far as tone, I actually think a muffler delete on the Q50, the 3.7, again, G37 and 370Z as well, I actually think it sounds pretty decent. It opens it up, makes it a little bit more throaty, a little more aggressive. Sounds nice under acceleration. You get a little bit of that sort of trumpety, trombone-y noise that people make fun of the VQ platform for. But it really isn't all that bad, and it's not crazy loud either. So, you know, this of course is with the factory catalytic converters and resonators still in place. That's one recommendation I'll make right off the bat, and we'll talk about this in a follow-up video as well. Don't remove the resonators. If you're doing a muffler delete, just do a muffler delete, period. Removing the resonators will make it super raspy, give it kind of a weird tinny noise. Some people like it because they think it sounds more aggressive, but to me it's just obnoxious. It's much less refined, and it just doesn't sound as good. But the muffler delete does have a nice tone. But does a muffler delete affect the performance of this car? When I first jumped into this platform about 4.5 years ago and was going for the muffler delete, a lot of people were saying that they were noticing a loss of low-end torque, or they felt like the car wasn't making quite as much power. You know, I guess you're reducing a little bit of back pressure. Technically, you're increasing the amount of flow. The thing to keep in mind is that a lot of people will think the more flow, the better, right? We should be increasing horsepower. If we're opening up the exhaust system, horsepower should be going up. And it's not always the case, especially with these sort of more modern day vehicles. They're so highly refined from the factory. The parameters, the settings in the computer, everything is really dialed in for these cars, especially the VQ37 platform that's been around for like a decade now or more. So it is really dialed, and if you change that exhaust system, you can expect there to be a change in its performance. And unfortunately, on this platform, that seems to be true. You will find it. You will feel it in the butt dyno as well, and it's something that I noticed right off the rip. It felt like the car wasn't quite as torquey. Right off the line especially, I would have no problem just jumping on the gas pedal and spinning the tires, even with the factory setup. But as soon as I did the muffler delete, it almost felt like it was, I don't want to say it was bogging off the line, but it almost seemed like it dropped a couple of foot-pounds of torque and it just wasn't able to get up and out of its own way. It's not that it really made it super slow, because the 0 to 60 times were still pretty decent. So maybe up at that higher RPM range or the higher mile per hour point, it improved its performance, but low-end torque definitely took a little bit of a hit. The interesting thing is, though, when I upgraded the Y pipe to the 1320 Performance Y pipe, it's a 2.5-inch Y pipe with the 3-inch collector, that actually seemed to bring that torque back and then some. It made the car feel a lot better out of the gate, right out of the hole from a dig. So that was kind of interesting to me. You increase the flow a little bit, reduce a little bit of back pressure by cutting the muffler off, and it seemed to reduce the performance. But then when you increase the flow a little bit more with a bigger Y pipe and increase the flow even more, it seemed to get some of that performance back. And maybe at that Y pipe part, it improved or made the scavenging a little bit more efficient. Now there's a lot of exhaust talk here, and that might not be necessary, but it's just kind of interesting to see that progression or see how that worked out by cutting the muffler off affected the performance, but then putting a bigger Y pipe in the system allowed you to gain some of that torque back. So that would be my recommendation. Again, I'll talk about this more in the follow-up video. But if you're going to do a muffler delete and you're worried about performance, throw that 1320 Performance Y pipe in the mix too, and I think you'll kind of get that back. And this is all without a tune, of course, still with the factory resonators, still with the factory mid pipe, and still with the factory catalytic converters. The Y pipe made the tone a little bit, even a little bit deeper. Not a huge difference, but it did kind of bring it down and make it even more throaty. So I think that's a good addition. But again, a muffler delete, you'll feel it in your pants a little bit less torque out of the hole, but not terrible at all. So just a couple of things to keep in mind there. So overall, would I say a muffler delete is worth it on your Q50, 370Z, or G37? I'm going to say yes, absolutely worth it. That follow-up video will talk about the best way to do it, but there are obviously a couple of options, but I'm going to certainly say that a muffler delete is worth it, especially if it's just sort of like a stepping stone. You just want it to sound a little bit better. Then no need in spending a bunch of money on an axle back. It's just that's a waste in my opinion. A muffler delete is a good route. So especially if you're not planning on doing any more modifications, or you're not going to do like a full catback system, or you're not going to use test pipes or high flow cats or anything like that. You're just going to, you just want minimal modifications, but you want the car to sound a little bit better. Muffler delete is a great way to go. A lot of people talk a lot of crap about it, but I mean, it's a great option. Inexpensive, sounds great, doesn't impact performance, doesn't require a tune. I mean, it's kind of hard to beat that. So hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions down below. I get to every single comment as fast as I possibly can. Appreciate you guys watching very much. I appreciate the continued support. More stuff coming again. Check out the part 2 video coming up probably in a day or two. Again, I upload Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So check it out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.